Welcome back to Night Mind, friends. Thank you for joining me in the office again tonight. I've called you all back here after much consideration and way too many hours spent studying our new topic to marvel at something I'm sure you'll find just as interesting as the human pet, but raises a lot more questions. To begin, I'd like to propose one of my own to you all now. Why do we love VHS tapes? Old technology, old books, old media. It's just common practice to throw out a lot of outdated products and bits of yesterday. We don't really hang on to them, we don't hold any interest in them, but VHS tapes, for some reason, stay in public consciousness. It could be the mark they've left on the world or being the first real personal video collectors inside the home, the first real way for everybody to have a full video and audio record of life in the world around them. Maybe it's a certain thrill, that sense of discovery, the satiation of morbid curiosity that draws at the mind. Pick up a blank VHS tape and you think of only one thing. What could be on here? That need to know is what brings us the latest entry in the Night Mind case files. We've seen series that involve tapes before, of course. Marble Hornets, Tribe 12, a previous case file that was even called Found on the Tape. But this one is a bit special because it's all about the secrets you can find inside a VHS tape, or a whole collection of them. Tonight's library of evil home videos can be found inside a web series that runs over 8 hours and 15 minutes of uploads. When I said earlier that I spent way too many hours studying this topic, I did mean it. Honestly, I'm surprised that MyDadsTapes didn't get any bigger than it was back in the day. We're going to see possible reasons why Traction fell short of staying power when it comes to notoriety, but really this web series had strong legs when it was active. MyDadsTapes kicked off with an introduction video that's collected over 47,000 views. That's not the mark of something that just trails off and falls away in viewership, is it? Especially not when it opens in a way that could turn a lot of people off. If people come in that strongly despite some bad footing, then it's got to have enough appeal to keep the audience, right? And it does have some bad footing, let's be honest. But considering it began on January 12, 2012, I don't think anybody's going to be surprised at the way things started. White font over a black background. Hey, which episode of Marble Hornets were we up to when this series began? Number 52 out of 87? Yeah, that seems about right. So let's actually give this a pass for now. We have solid reasoning for the character using the Marble Hornets template that you'll understand almost immediately. Our main character, who doesn't give us his name, lets us know that on New Year's Eve 2010, his estranged father passed away. He was informed of the passing by his sister and shares that his father left behind a couple of cars, a trailer, a bag of clothing, and a box of VHS tapes. We're then given a recording date of August 1st, 2011. But wait, hold on. Didn't I just say this was uploaded January 12th, 2012? A quick look at some of the following uploads reveals the same issue. Dates from before 2012, but all uploaded on January 12th, 2012. What gives? It's actually the same problem encountered by Sam Deercott from The Human Pet. The content was just too grisly for YouTube, so the first channel was deleted, and so its curator had to upload all over again using a new channel and keep going from there. It's actually pretty funny that this happened considering how many similarities you're about to find between this web series and The Human Pet. These two case files may as well have the same author, seeing how they're practically siblings. Getting into the story now after that classic Born, Deleted, and Reborn event, we view 9 uploads by the main character from his father's collection of VHS tapes, revealing quite a dark discovery. Footage of a man in a mask that's stalking, capturing, and tormenting a blonde woman, sometimes accompanied with shots of a TV showing pure static. The main character urges the audience to email him if they recognize anybody in the videos. Some appear to be home movies and recordings of family events before the secret material shows up, so anyone being identified could hold a breakthrough. He also offers a phone number if they'd like to call him instead. It's during upload number 10 that the police are contacted, specifically Detective Adams at the local station. The tapes that have been recorded are handed over while the main character holds on to the remainder. Detective Adams says that he'll get back to him. The next upload is an attempt by the main character to get identification for anybody in the previous videos using the clearer shots recorded, with another call to action for the audience. After this, we resume viewing the father's personal videos and see more of what happened to the kidnapped woman, as well as some creative editing choices by the cameraman. The main character seems to get no leads on his search for people who can be identified through the tapes, opting now to call his sister and talk about Dad.
I really miss those trips you took. I know he went to California mostly, Arizona, Florida, once or twice. I don't know why Mom married him. Remember how heavy the house felt when he was home? You know, used to hit Mom, right? She only left him because he started threatening me. I thought he hated me before. Once I started having my period, he wouldn't even look at me. He seemed okay with you, though. He just hated women. Even his own. Best day of my life, because my Uncle Don emailed me about him finally died. How do you not know about Uncle Don? He was the one good thing about Dad.
And then, right on cue, we have a video detailing the discovery of the ever-popular mysterious web series antagonist in upload number 14, Mysterious Note. The main character has received an image by email containing a code that will, when solved, reveal a YouTube video link. And now, if you guys have seen enough coverage of stuff in this field by this point, you know what's coming. You can guess what we're going to get by solving that code and finding the video, right? Take a second to think about it. I know you're going to get this. Did you come up with the answer of a vague, mysterious, and threatening villain message, kind of like we saw with To the Ark from Marble Hornets? I sure hope so, because that's exactly what happens. Welcome to Do Not Continue, the side account for MyDadsTapes, serving as the personal boogeyman that can't make up his mind about the mixed messages he wants to send to the main character. The video is titled The Info You Seek and shows footage of a similar bit of paper from the email leading us here that bears the message, "Do not continue down this path. No one will win." So the character behind Do Not Continue entices the main character with a secret code while he's really digging for information to find lost people. Solving that secret code opens a video called The Info You Seek, which then tells the main character to stop looking for info. My gut reaction to content like this is saying it's equal to telling somebody, "I don't want you on my property. Please come inside." The impression made here is completely contradictory. At first. Thinking about the course of events in the series, I do believe there's writing logic behind this, or at the very least a sensible way to justify it, but we have a long way to go in order to settle this case if we even want to entertain it. Rolling back to MyDadsTapes, we find that emails have been coming in comparing the main character's father, or at least the man in the videotapes, to the Zodiac Killer. A writing sample is requested by an emailer to see if there's any match to the writing of the Zodiac, and we learn the father's name was Gerald. Following this, Gerald's son goes to visit his Uncle Don, who was mentioned by his sister.
It's been difficult. You probably know about the problems that your father had, but it caused a huge rift between us. I tried the best I could to keep him on the straight and narrow, but unfortunately he drifted. It caused a rift between us, which we never got together to fix. There was a time when I would do just about anything he wanted, and I can tell you the truth, anything. He took us up some interesting paths, but then things started getting a little bit scary, and I tried to rein him in and tried to hold it back, but eventually I just had to jump ship. I just couldn't keep up with it. I mean, when he met your mother, I thought she was going to be a good, steadying influence on him, and for a while I think she probably was. But when the split happened and I never saw him, that meant I never saw her. On occasions I saw your sister, but until today we'd never met. So that's how strong the rift in the family was. I honestly don't know how to answer that. But the last time I saw your father, he gave me a box. He said, "Whatever you do, just make sure my son gets it." So you're here now. I gotta go get it. I've never opened it. I've got no idea what's inside it. Your father asked me not to open it myself, just to present it to you whole exactly as it is, so I've honored him on that. So, it's the only thing that he made sure he left for me to give to you. I think we should call it a day. I'm not feeling too comfortable right now, so no more questions. Look, I'm asking you nicely, just stop it there, okay? I don't want to answer that question. We gotta stop it now. It's gotta finish, alright?
Uncle Don leaves his nephew with the lockbox, but no key, and the main character isn't sure where to get it either. While he figures out how to get it open, two events occur. A phone call from Detective Adams asking for every known address his father had, and an email arrives from Do Not Continue, saying everything needed is now in front of him. On September 26, 2011, video is uploaded revealing the main character's had an argument with his girlfriend, who discovered his investigation into his father's tapes and was not too happy about being left out. After the argument, they make up and work on opening the lockbox together, revealing the contents are a novel called The Dream Game with what appear to be coded messages inside, ticket stubs, a 1986 silver dollar, a small metal object that resembles a bullet, a Canon flash memory card, a white bandaged doll with a key attached, $3, a VHS tape, a Citibank deposit receipt from 1993, and what appears to be a pencil cup. It was at this point in the story that things began to heat up on both sides. Do Not Continue has obviously been watching the main character, and now, seeing how he's decided to continue down this path after all, he's going to reveal the consequences. Footage is shown of Do Not Continue stalking outside somebody's house, followed by an upload in what seems to be the same area during daylight hours, showing off emergency services on the street and a police officer taking notes. The video description contains a message. Sorry, but you are part of the big plan. Everything is balance. Your pain brought the rainbow. We then have a section of code followed by the statement, I had no choice. The link led to an image once, but that page is now broken. I don't think it had anything substantial to offer anyway, like this code. But I bet you knew the code didn't have anything for us, right? You guys are veterans at this point. Yeah, just like earlier with the appearance of Do Not Continue and the way they came across, you can telegraph the outcome of what they're going to be doing with their secret codes according to how much of this we've already seen in the web series field. The codes, as usual, result in nothing. They are the sprinkles on a cupcake. Nothing but decoration and actually pretty terrible when you concentrate on indulging yourself in just that unnecessary extra layer. If it's not a vague threatening message, it's a statement alluding to what we'll be learning later in the series. MyDadsTapes unfortunately suffers the same fate as the human pet in the code-making department, but if you're keen on what we've been shown so far, you might already suspect why codes are here in the first place. And we will get to that, don't you worry. Meanwhile, on the side of things where storytelling is actually straightforward, the main character discovers something odd about the lockbox. When he turns the lights off in the room after a while, part of it glows. He can't catch it on camera, the glow isn't strong enough, so he picks up a blacklight to see what it might reveal and finds a 4-digit code. 9327. From this point forward in the series, we receive plenty of uploads from both MyDadsTapes and Do Not Continue, mixing in with each other almost blow for blow. One reveals something, the other follows, and around in a circle it goes, which made for a very interesting circumstance while viewing. I'll clear something up here. Watching the series in order and ignoring the code angle, the To the Ark imitation stuff, and the Marble Hornets formatting made for a good experience during this arc. We have a solid setup. Man finds collection of VHS tapes from his dead father that appear to contain a snuff film, featuring a man who is most likely his dad as the killer. Immediately interesting. We want to know more. While trying to solve the mystery of who his father really was and how many secrets he had, someone who seems to have insider information comes along to threaten action against the main character, and as you'll see in a moment, they have their own horribly violent tendencies. The police are actually involved for once and don't seem dismissive of the evidence brought forward. Good. The mystery presented is done in such a way that it doesn't seem entirely fake and our view is limited to just what matters. Good. We have a visible threat that is getting more dangerous as the plot heats up. Very good. Take away the silly and annoying parts, and what you're left with here is solid. I wanted to know more, I was curious to know more, and frankly, I was a little bit impressed with some of these actors. For a web series, you typically don't get people who are confident on camera and can deliver lines that aren't stilted. It's just not something you find often. It was a very nice change, and I was willing to make that trade-off in exchange for the stuff I've been shaking my head at. I especially enjoyed the rate of progress made on both sides here. The character behind MyDadsTapes begins the reveal of the lockbox content with an unusual upload. White font over a red background. We're told the original video here was flagged as 18 and over, and due to the age restriction, he probably received a form of strike that led to the first channel being deleted. The tape was uploaded in its original form on Vimeo, containing footage of the first masked man, presumably Gerald, the father, and 2 other men. One wearing a red mask with stitches over the mouth, and one that seemed to be wearing a dried-out human face. They sharpen weapons, show off their blonde captive, and film as they press knives into fresh wounds on a body. The next upload features the contents of the camera card. 6 photos dated December 11th, 2005. A blonde woman is seen, somewhat different in appearance of the first, her face and body bruised and bleeding. The Citibank receipt is taken to a local branch, and points go to the series here for actually going inside, filming talks with bank tellers, and sitting through the process of looking for the location from the receipt. You can't tell whether actors are involved here who just happen to work at the bank or if these are genuine employees who are unaware they're being recorded as part of a series, and I appreciate that touch immensely. The result comes to be that the receipt is from the branch at 200 Park Ave in New York. Our main character is satisfied, but confused. Meanwhile, Do Not Continue reveals the consequences of his investigation. The video titled Winner Winner shows a blonde woman in a store, unaware that she's being filmed. A skull slowly fades in over her face and she fades out. This is followed by I Did It Again, revealing another scene of emergency vehicles on location. The cameraman hides just outside the entrance to a building as somebody is wheeled out on a stretcher. A message follows at the end. I could not help myself. But the fun isn't over yet. Do Not Continue gives us one more video, just 3 days later, titled Last Warning.
I warned you to stop. Do not continue down this path. No one will win. You can still stop. This is your last warning. Okay. Can you please let me go? I won't tell anyone. Just please let me go. Please.
So, what happens next? Do you think that the character from MyDadsTapes continued? Yes. And can we count on it happening because he just wasn't watching the videos by Do Not Continue? No, of course we can't. Because in upload number 24, Strange Footage, we get this message. Harassment from YouTube user Do Not Continue has escalated. Originally, I thought he was a fraud. He now seems like a genuine threat. After his latest video, Last Warning, I considered burning the tapes. Then I found more footage. And what did this man deem so important from the tapes that he decided to roll the dice on a woman's life after already saying he takes Do Not Continue seriously now? Art school close-ups of interesting things in black and white, some statues, 2 shots of a man wearing a killer mask, and the blonde woman screaming while tied to a chair. In other words, a rehash of everything we've already seen in previous tapes. I personally cannot see anything in that worth taking a risk on somebody's life to show to the masses on YouTube. The result of this action comes just a day later on Do Not Continue's sign with the video, I Do Not Cry Wolf.
Do you think this is a joke? Destroy the tapes before anyone else gets hurt. This is all your fault.
This video ends with the same flashing Do Not Continue message and binary code, followed with a quick shot of this woman's throat slashed open and blood streaming down her face. You can see it if you'd like by going to the original video, or you can take my word for it that she is most certainly dead. It's now that I would like to introduce a video aspect to add to this case file investigation, and any others from now on that will include piles of bodies you can keep track of. The blood meter. Every time somebody dies, the blood meter increases by 1. Right now, Do Not Continue has a blood meter reading of 3. I think it'll be fun to see the number at the end of the series, don't you? It might surprise us both. So here's where it starts to really get interesting. Not only does our main character ignore the fact that he basically caused a murder and completely knows that, we have an anonymous caller leaving short messages on the tip line. She says that she's been watching the videos and calls a few times, hesitating to say anything helpful until her 4th voicemail, claiming she may have known the father. The main character urges the woman to call back. Shortly after this, Detective Adams gets in touch to talk about mainly one thing: how the main character needs to sit back and let the police do their job.
Are you recording this? We don't have much to go on to start with, and the more publicity you give this, the harder it makes it for everyone. I mean, I'm talking the LAPD, the SFPD, and every fucking department in between. And there's a lot of young girls went missing in San Luis Hospital over the last few years, and we're just waiting for one of them to show up, something to check out. And as for that girl of yours, I don't even know if she's officially listed as missing yet.
Adams is getting grilled by fellow officers because his informant is running around playing detective on YouTube and enticing a maniac. I imagine he wasn't very happy when the maniac in question responded to this footage by increasing our blood meter to 4, showing off another blonde woman trapped in a box recoiling in fear one moment and then lying dead the next. The back and forth game of investigation upload, murder upload continues for about 10 videos. The character in My Dad's Tapes finds more strange footage that tells us nothing. Uncle Don leaves a nasty voicemail because he was visited by Detective Adams. We find out the code from the box inside the lockbox said death might not be the end, which, of course, it was something like that. The character finds out that 9327 refers to a storage facility where his father held 3 units under his son's name. Do Not Continue is seen stalking him at the storage unit. He increases the blood meter by 3 for a new count of 7. And we get a look inside the mind of a killer who has now turned to using a new camera and taken his work into the field of art while increasing the blood and gore factors. Here's Do Not Continue speaking for the first time in the video. All good things.
I'm sure you are all wondering why I brought you here today. Why you are all watching me, listening to my voice at this very moment. Every choice you and I have both made throughout our lives, every path we've taken, all these years to bring us to this very moment, there is something you cannot deny, and that is you are completely mesmerized by my creations. You cannot get enough. I was once like you, waking up every day and just surviving, until one day I died and was given a second chance. And that was when I was reborn. This world is a beautiful and amazing place. Unfortunately, there are those mixed in with you and I that don't belong. I always sensed something was wrong with these people, but it wasn't until my rebirth that I finally understood exactly what was wrong with them. These people, they were already dead. They just did not know it yet. And here I am, bringing balance to this world. For without balance, there would just be chaos. This was a responsibility given to me and one that I will carry out. I promise it will all make sense.
Now, for the record, the man from My Dad's Tapes is, in fact, keeping up with all of this, which we learned firmly in upload number 33, Jess and Bridget. He writes, in Do Not Continue's latest video, Black Friday, he is shown killing another girl. In the video, her phone number is shown. When called, the voicemail is for Jess. Last night, the number I set up received a call from Jess's phone.
Hello? My name is Bridget. I was just buying groceries when I met the nicest man. He brought me home with him. He said he needs to save me. Please tell my family that I love them.
And so the blood meter advances to 8. And now with the next video, Keepsakes, we learn that the killer likes to keep cell phones as trophies from his victims, one of which leads him to the next potential body to add to the pile, a woman named Catherine calling Jess. He picks up but does not answer. This opens a small arc in which DNC hunts down Catherine while showing us videos from Jess's phone of the two hanging out. He leaves clues for the audience to find Catherine before he does, and the audience apparently succeeds, keeping her from, as DNC puts it, being saved by him. During this time, he increased the blood meter by 2 for a new count of 10 and decided to raise a bit of fun during his killings. The first victim is forced to read a message putting words in her mouth, asking him to cut off her hand, followed by footage of a hand laying in a pool of blood. The second victim is allowed to escape, only to be caught again on the street and thrown into a car, all while being recorded. The man from My Dad's Tapes tries to get away from it all for a bit, but realizes that he's being stalked by Do Not Continue after reviewing the footage. This comes on the heels of him uploading an 18-minute video found on an old camera in the storage shed containing about 17 minutes of the killer watching TV static. I'm completely serious. This was even more painful to sit through than the first pure TV static video, upload number 7, which showed the blonde lying unconscious next to a screen for nearly 5 minutes. And then, after what equates to basically nothing on the side of My Dad's Tapes, we get something very substantial. The anonymous caller has agreed to sit down for a meeting at a diner, where she reveals herself as Melissa. This upload was actually delightful to watch. A very satisfying human conversation revealing details we wanted at a time when a viewer would desperately need a breakthrough, especially one with substance. We also get to hear our main character's voice at last. Here are the highlights of Melissa's interview.
I'm studying nursing at University of Arizona. I did a semester at Odyssey Hospice, where your dad was. Yeah, it was part of my degree. I just became really interested in your dad, so I actually stayed a little bit past my semester until he died. It's weird. He told me about all these things that he, well, not specifically. He said that he had done a lot of things bad in his life. He gave me instructions to burn his trailer or something once he died. I'm assuming, I mean, now that I've watched the tapes, that I don't even know where this trailer is. I mean, your sister came a lot, at least several times. And your uncle, he came, I guess, only once. Yeah, I never saw you there. Yeah, she came quite a few times, actually. It's weird, neither of them ever mentioned you. I wasn't sure, but I did watch some, and really interesting stuff. I mean, I'm studying psychiatry, so I try to analyze some of them, but I guess actually I thought about it because I was a little, I'm not sure if it's a joke. I don't know, it's a little exciting, don't you think? So, were your parents married? It's so strange because he talks about this girl, Emily. Do you know her? He always refers to her as like the one that got away. So maybe it was like a high school sweetheart or something. He was really weird. Sometimes he would apologize for things, just like little things. But it felt deeper, and it felt like it was coming from some place that wasn't just about not finishing his pudding or, dropping his glass of water, or it felt really embedded. And I only know him on a surface level. It's not like we have these deep conversations, but he definitely, he had a vibe to him that made me take interest because it's a little weird, and that's what I like. Weird. He did have, well, like I said, I mean, we didn't have that deep of conversations, but I feel like, from what I saw, because he did have writings and things.
He had writings?
Yeah. He would just jot things down, I think. I don't know if I could get them. I could try, but we would encourage the patients to write and journal. It helps. So, I don't know, that might be like illegal or something, but I should have thought of this stuff before. I can't think. 8 hours. Okay. Mental note. File. Writing. So, I guess we'll have to meet again.
Finally, a glimpse of real progress. Something besides the same old odd VHS footage will be a relief if we can get it. But for now, our main character has to deal with Detective Adams telling him to once again stay off YouTube because every bit of progress made is being revealed to a legitimate serial killer who doesn't want them to move forward, and everybody involved in this knows that. We get more red band footage of a killing that has to be seen on Vimeo, an upload by Do Not Continue that increases the blood meter to 11, an interview with the sister that only affirms what we already knew about the father while also mentioning a brother of theirs who passed away, an overview of some storage shed contents, and a conversation with Detective Adams that basically equates to him saying, 3 strikes, you're out, and having the channel taken down.
You just don't get it. You just flat out don't get it. I mean, you're just giving away the farm every damn day. I mean, you think you're trying to be so damn clever. And you just, like I said last time, Chris, you're just an amateur at this game. Just an amateur. So I shut your page down. So we gotta try and cut down the source of his information. And the first thing that happens is your page is gone. It's gone. You just got shut down. You're just too dangerous. You are dangerous. You're like an incendiary bomb. It's waiting to go off. Anybody close to you is gonna get burned or singed badly. I mean, all we're doing at the moment is we're running around after this guy, basically picking up the bits he leaves behind. And the bits are usually people. People who know you, have known you, or me. And that is not good. And I am not putting up with that.
Now, this video was made and uploaded on January 18th, 2012, which means that it's the first continuation of the original channel. MyDadsTapes played off the event of channel number 1 being deleted as caused by the police as part of the story, not an act of it being taken down by YouTube. I have to give points to that workaround. It is a nice enough touch. It's too bad we then take a detour into a 10-minute red herring video where, based on a newspaper article found in the storage shed, the character interviews a woman about escaping from a group of Scientologists, and yes, I am totally serious, that's part of the series, it actually happens, and I wish I was joking. More red band footage is found. There's a second meetup with Melissa where she hands over the father's journal and expresses an interest in meeting Do Not Continue for the sake of psychological profiling, a giant red flag, and we get to watch as Do Not Continue raises the blood meter to 12 over the course of 7 minutes. And then, finally, 75 uploads into the series, we get our hands on the father's journal for some legitimate insight into everything we've been seeing on the VHS tapes. Here are the highlights.
I am not sure who will read this. I guess this is where I should confess to things I regret. I guess it's too late to get into trouble now. I should be sorry, I suppose. That's what society dictates anyway. If I understood my actions as you might, I would spit on my grave too. But sadly, you don't see things the same way that I do. You see, it is all about clarity and vision. Some see the world different than others, and people like me have to do what we think is right. What is right, moral, justified? That in itself is hard to explain. To those of us that have had a near-death experience, we had a glimpse of the rest, the next step. This gift I was given was by and large my burden, my cross to bear. To understand me was to understand what I was asked to do. I was a miserable person, then I had purpose. All of a sudden I had an important job to fill, and the tools provided were antiquated at best. First was to seek out my mentor. I traveled west. That's when I met him. His name unimportant, as mine will be soon enough. This man had so much knowledge and knew exactly what he was doing. It was frightening. He told me about his similar situation to mine. He always told me I would eventually know what to do. To others, what he did might have appeared wrong, but as they say, eye of the beholder, I knew in my heart, as he did in his work was important to the world. The suffering he inflicted brought out something else. And unto chaos was born peace, and unto suffering was born joy. Sadness begat happiness, death begat life. And all of a sudden, the world made sense. I was bound by him. I saw my wife sporadically. I traveled the country as he stuck to his home. I was not there for the birth of my firstborn. My wife was in no shape to raise him. I couldn't be there. I convinced her to let someone else have that honor. Our pain was others' fortune. Even producing 2 more children, the damage to my wife was done. At this time, I was to relieve him of his duty and take his place. It was then I went home and attempted to be a father and husband. But I was never happy, and as much as I tried to be normal, I no longer was. I tried faking it. It didn't work. I made myself miserable and made my family miserable. I guess as my body fails more each day, then God is finally going to kill me off after all. Good luck. I will get the last laugh. All the things I have done, I should go straight to hell. You should have hit me with a bus. I have repented for my sins. See you in heaven. His story is the only story that the majority believe. If people believe what you tell them, then that is the truth. The history in their head is the story in yours. Tell people what they want to hear. It's usually better than what really happened. Don't leave much behind, but the knowledge what I did was right. I am truly sorry for the things I have done. If enough people believe I mean that, then I am already forgiven. When you do what is expected of you, no one will notice you did anything. No one ever noticed. No one ever knew, except the souls I saved. I wish I could recall all their names, all of them sacrificing so we could all continue. You will all be in heaven for being martyrs. I will see you all very soon. I will return to be your God again. I am 72 years old. I was born in 1938. I have outlived all my friends. I never went to war. I was always right. I survived my father's abuse. My mother even tried to have me killed, but I still survived. 2 attempts at ending my own life only showed to prove that nothing, not even my own hand, would take me off this earth. What other evidence do you need to show that the things I have done were not evil? If I can't even kill me, then God, or whatever put me here, did so for a reason. Maybe when you go to sleep at night, it's in my name you should pray. Emily, you were my favorite. I loved your screams the most. It is a shame no one will ever know what we shared together.
Action ramps up quite a bit from here as investigation into the Citibank lead reveals the location in question doesn't actually exist anymore. Our main character is looking for another bank entirely. Detective Adams also needs to know when the main character last saw his girlfriend. They've just found her car abandoned in a remote location. The follow-up video by DNC shows us that he kidnapped her with a little help from the friend who recorded his catch-and-release prank with an earlier victim. And next we have what people will probably be split down the middle over: means to an end. In this upload on DNC's side, we find that he's conducting an interview with Melissa. And I do mean he's conducting it. Melissa didn't just want to study him, she wanted to join him. The main character doesn't have time to react to this news. DNC has contacted him to arrange a meeting and left a voicemail from the girlfriend saying she'll be spared if they meet up. We also get to hear his name at last: Chris. And then it happens. The big sit down. Chris versus Killer. MyDadsTapes versus Do Not Continue. Over margaritas.
2 margaritas. Where is she? Where is she? Do you speak? Do you talk? I'm here, now what?
You talk too much.
Just Give her back.
You think you know everything, don't you?
You wanted to see me in here. Is she okay? Is she okay? She's fine. What do you want from me? You kidnapped my girlfriend, you asked me to meet, and then you don't say a goddamn word.
It's a damn good margarita.
Yeah. All right, hold on. Let me get it together here. Okay.
Damn good margarita.
Okay, we're gonna punch through this now, because I'm obviously not going to last much longer like this. I feel myself getting meaner. The sarcasm is spiking in my veins now. I'm usually better than this, I apologize. Must be the season changing or something.
Look at you. Really? Really? You?
I don't know what you expected.
What do you want to know?
I just want to know where she is. After that,
You know what? That's not a question I can
I'm done.
answer.
I'm done.
We've got some plans for you.
Who's we?
You'll find out soon enough, won't you now? Fucking little pussy. You like my work?
No.
No.
I don't like. I'm sorry. I don't agree with what you do.
What I do? I don't agree with what you do, really.
I don't agree with what you do. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I just want her back.
Oh, you'll get her back. I promise you that.
Safe. I want her back safe.
I want her back safe too.
What do you want from me? What can I do to fix this? Just end this.
We've got some plans for you.
All I want is Kathleen back. And I'll quit. I'll go away. I'll move. I'll go somewhere else. I'll disappear. I'll vanish.
You'll vanish?
I'll vanish.
I'll vanish.
I'll vanish.
Yeah, you will.
I'll go away. I'm serious. I will go away. I will move. You'll never hear from me again. I won't post any more videos. I won't talk to anyone. I will completely go away.
You know what? We'll be in touch. Don't edit yourself out of that one.
So, anyway, we have a video from Do Not Continue basically saying, stop waiting and join the dark side after this, and then Chris manages to find the right bank after using a clue found in his father's journal, which leads him to a safe deposit box that actually has a pretty cool surprise. Danny's murder mask. This brings us to a video by DNC, Nevermore, which is a pretentious 4 minutes and 12 seconds of wannabe student art film featuring a dead raven and blood dripping into a sink. And I guess there was some binary code in there too, which was actually used for something for once, as Chris tells us next. Do Not Continue's last video, Nevermore, contained a binary trail which ultimately led to a jigsaw puzzle. We're then shown a photo of the painting from Uncle Don's house, an obvious invitation on where to meet, so Chris says he accepts it and is coming for Kathleen. And then we get a truly powerful mix of great and garbage in the epic upload number 57, the climax of a video series that still includes 50 videos after this. Chris rolls up to Uncle Don's place and finds mask-wearing killers hanging out really casually in this bright public neighborhood in the middle of a sunny day with no clouds, walks inside after being let in by Do Not Continue, and meets the killer who owns the red mask.
Bring your father's face. Well, it's been a long road, but you finally made it to claim your inheritance.
I came here for her. Where is she?
We'll get to that. That's a little bit further down the line, okay? But,
I came here for her. I don't...
Be patient, take a load off, relax.
I'm not staying because I'm not staying.
Alright.
I came here for her. I want to get her. I want to leave.
Let me tell you a little bit of history. You need to know this. Your inheritance is waiting for you, but you need to know this. Your father, back in the late 50s, early 60s, met a guy he called his mentor. And for a long time, he was under the tutelage of his mentor, and he did a lot of stuff. By stuff, I mean he killed a lot of people.
What do you mean, saved?
It depends on your perspective. But he learned from the mentor that there's a balance in the world. That balance has to be preserved at all costs. And the only way that he could carry on doing what needed to be done was by killing the mentor, which he did. And then for a little while, he tried to be a father, he tried to be a husband. The problem was he didn't want to get his hands dirty, so he got me to do his dirty work for him. I was the one who would be shedding the blood, keeping the balance. Now, you know how your father died?
I'm guessing the stroke. Am I wrong?
Well, he died in the home. That much is true. But it wasn't a totally natural death. I had to pass on the ritual. I had to maintain the balance. So I helped your father pass. He was going to anyway. But it was easier for me to do it that way than to, well, any other way, really. Which brings me to you. Because as you can see, I'm all dressed up in my nice suit. Because today is my day to pass. It's my turn to move on. I have to pass over the inheritance to you. And you have to kill me.
You guys are so fucked up in the head.
It's balance. It's your inheritance. Don't you want it?
Balance? You guys aren't doing it. You guys are killing innocent young girls because you want to. You guys, how many of you killed since in the 50s and the 60s? This isn't balance. This is...
You know as well as I do there's order and there's chaos. That's the balance.
Yeah. The world will spin whether or not you do what you do or don't do what you do. This isn't...
When I woke up this morning, I knew that I would be giving my life to maintain this balance. I knew that. I'm open to it. I'm ready for it. Whatever it takes to maintain the balance, you have to carry on the legacy. You must do it. It's your inheritance. Your father knew that. That's why he dragged me into it in the first place. And when he passed, there's nobody else. My son, he's great with the brawn. But he's not a brains person. You are. You've worked through all the clues. You've led everything back to here.
Oh my God, what happened to you people? I didn't talk to my dad. Because He's nuts. I didn't know about you. What are you doing? I didn't know about you. Clearly, because I shouldn't be associating with you.
So you are spitting in the face of our family history, of our inheritance?
I'm not going to become some serial killer because you want me to be.
Take the knife!
I should kill all of you, but fuck you all. Give me Kathleen. I will leave, and I will put this all behind me.
Take a walk. Come on.
Is this where I get killed now?
Now you're not dying today. You are the future. You just don't realize it yet. Down there. Keep walking to the back. Your inheritance is something really precious. You should embrace it.
What are you doing? What are you doing? No! 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 No!
And one Kathleen brings the blood meter up to 13. Yes, 13 dead women by now and still can't catch this serial killer who just put his face on YouTube while meeting with a man who knows a detective. So you want to know what happens from here? Do ya? Do ya? Do you want to know really? Well, they have a funeral for Kathleen, which Detective Adams attends, which is real nice of the guy. And then Melissa comes along at the end after revealing on YouTube that she's in line with the serial killers to rub salt in the wound. And just for kicks, Do Not Continue tosses in kill number 14 in gruesome detail, followed by another art student piece showing off what seems to be a rat skull, just so he can hide a jump scare in it with a message to Chris telling him that he should kill himself. And then, kids, oh boy, and then, just in case after all of this, you as a viewer had any serious attention left in you for the series, we get upload number 59, A New Beginning.
My name is Emily, and I think you've been looking for me.
You just witnessed a promo for another season and the story of My Dad's Tapes within the actual run-through of the channel. Even though this series started out on a completely immersive note and did its absolute best to follow through on immersion every step of the way, I mean outside of some real common sense writing bits, you know, but yeah, we just saw that. That was real. That was it. That was as real as the Strawberry Margaritas meeting. That happened. And over the course of the rest of the series, Chris reveals more footage by his dad showing us stuff we've already basically seen again. He meets up with a suicide hotline counselor he's tricked into calling by Do Not Continue and has a long, overbearing, unimportant side plot involving her just being in his life while DNC and Uncle Don continue their murder marathon, including this one video of them talking for about 17 minutes that really gets us literally nothing at all. You could chop it down to about 3 or 4 minutes and get the gist of what happened. We find the blonde woman from the first set of videos who apparently survived and ran away, and Detective Adams continues to be the most casual, I forgot what professional protocol is kind of detective you've ever seen. And it all ends at a sudden stop on April 28th, 2014, with another useless upload of footage from a VHS tape showing us more snuff film garbage. It just descends into snuff after the big Uncle Don reveal. It's just a murder marathon, guys. Just a long string of DNC showing us all the ways he can kill women on camera and force them to read messages calling Chris a wiener before they die. Which, let's face it, he totally is a wiener, but that's beside the point. 8 hours and 15 minutes. At least 8 hours and 15 minutes, and any real excitement to the ride stops halfway through. And then just when you think it's going to get cool when Chris finds Emily, she's totally standoffish, unconvincing with the direction that she's given, and leaves so much to be desired for answers. And even if you love a good kill scene, DNC's action just gets boring. It is so repetitive and uninspiring to watch him keep killing women like he does. Screaming girl tied up, screaming girl tied up more, message bullying Chris and saying this is his fault, kill scene, toss her on the pile, repeat the cycle. Come on, keep it moving, this is your life now, buddy. Scream, tie, bully, kill, on to the next. I mean, it's still better than the entire runtime of the Poughkeepsie tapes, but come on, man. I can't even care about the blood meter rating after the 14 mark, because it doesn't even matter. It's like staying to kick field goals after your team already lost by 20 points. So, let me just stop being mean for a minute here, control myself, and try to break down why and how this series sputtered and died, because it missed a lot of marks while pulling things off in other ways. First offense, repetition. Doing the same stupid thing time after time gets boring. While watching Gerald's murder tapes, we wanted to see new stuff, new victims, things that gave us clues or let us know more, at least a bit of variety. Instead, we got to see the same played out type of footage where Emily was tied up or beat up, or in that one really terrible case, she just laid on the floor in front of a TV for about 5 minutes. When that wasn't happening, we had shots of Gerald in his killer mask, some more shots of Gerald in his killer mask, some nice close-ups of bugs, and more things that we don't care about. Bits of footage showing how he stalked Emily was nice. That lets us know the extent of his hunting behavior. Too bad that he was pretty boring the rest of the time. First applause. Creating a mystery situation in this format that compels us to keep watching so we can learn more because we want to. Yeah, the footage gets repetitive, but we want to know if this guy's dad was the killer or if he was tracking the killer, if he knew the killer. We want to know why he killed, we want to know how many people died. We want to know. We are curious. We enjoy the setup. The hook is in the mouth. We bit down on the fishing line. Reel us in, make it worth our while. That being established, once things really get rolling and common sense movements are made, second offense occurs. Informing the police and then screwing up the activity of the police. You ask the detective to help you solve a murder, then you go and get in his way enough that he needs to tell you to stop, an event that you actually record and upload, and then you keep on doing exactly what you're doing. Extra points taken off the board for the most casual detective in California, by the way. Confidential details of an ongoing investigation. Oh sure, let the people have them. What harm can it do? Especially after you just got done reaming the guy you're talking to about how he keeps leaking things that are dangerous for the investigation on YouTube where he's being watched by a serial killer. Second applause. Having interactive moments on films with characters who are actually comfortable and natural enough to believe on camera, once you get past the stupid writing and direction. Some of the best scenes in the entire series are spent between Chris and another person, especially that diner scene with Melissa. That was thoroughly enjoyable and made me happy she was around as a character. Speaking of character, third offense. Chris sucks. He honestly does, and you can't tell me otherwise. He gets the help of the police, then interferes with the investigation up, down, left, and right, recording things that he doesn't need to and uploading sensitive material. He tells us he believes Do Not Continue is dangerous, then shows us a rehash of the same found footage that he's been showing all along and gets a woman killed when he just finished saying he believes the guy who kidnapped her is dangerous. Victim number 3 is 100% on Chris. That was his kill. It's his fault. Then, as he's moving along, he just constantly seems to forget all the important details of his situation. He'll upload any dumb, irrelevant thing that doesn't advance the plot while DNC keeps on killing people and just ignores it. He'll go into a situation where he's meeting with the serial killer and not tell Detective Adams about it. In fact, Detective Adams, where the hell were you when that video was uploaded, telling the masses that there was about to be a meeting with the serial killer? You have Chris's number. Why didn't you call him? Why didn't you hook something up there? You dropped the ball, man. Maybe Chris is more effective than you guys. Or maybe not, because he goes unarmed to a house filled with serial killers to be Mr. Nice Man. And when he's not being pathetic, Chris is being willfully stupid and getting innocent women killed, like every single month. Third applause. The secret codes were 95% unnecessary and stupid, as usual for a web series that uses the code gimmick. But considering the story is pointing in the direction that the mentor of this cult was the Zodiac himself, I can completely understand why the codes were involved in the first place. This cult, being taught by the Zodiac, would use codes whenever, wherever. The writing justification's there. The Zodiac was infamous for being the coded message serial killer with his intense secret knowledge and reasoning for his actions. But that brings me to my fourth offense. The justification for the serial killers and their talk of balance is just as painfully vague, dumb, and shallow as the secret codes. Balance, they say. They correct balance, keep the balance. How? How, Uncle Don? How are you keeping a balance in the world by engaging in your blonde girl snuff film fetish? What kind of balance does this achieve at all? You can't explain it to the one guy in the entire world who you absolutely need to convince to join your side when he asks you to cough up your reasons. Your idiot disciple can't even begin teaching it despite how much he likes to talk to the audience. And your new girl Melissa? Oh, she just floated on in here acting like she knew it when the information is nowhere to be found. Your lore and world build isn't even broken. It just doesn't exist. Fourth applause. Camera work and visual efforts were great. A lot of work went into it, and boy did a lot of actresses die on camera. That must have been quite a lot of time and energy spent making Do Not Continue videos, and it's not lost on me. This series went in so hard on the kill scenes they got kicked off YouTube and had to set up a back alley on Vimeo. And I'll be honest, some of those women who knew how to keep completely still holding their breath with their eyes open during the dead girl portions made such an impact that I worried for the briefest of seconds about what was actually done to the actresses. Good work. Fifth offense. You hit the climax, had the epilogue fallout, and then crawled into the new season with your face pressed to the floor because you broke your own legs with the most unnecessary in-universe promo video I've ever seen. Matter of fact, it's the first in-universe promo video I've seen, and watching it felt like somebody sticking a broomstick pole through the front of my bicycle while going downhill. I was wondering what it would take for somebody to match the human pet when it comes to walking into a room at the height of the party and snapping your own neck, and man, my dad's tapes did not leave me thinking about it for long. Kids, never do this. And I think that's the end of my airing of grievances. Oh, besides the whole 8 hours and 15 minutes thing. You're really going to try and be as long as Marble Hornets when you already hit the climax halfway through? Are you kidding me? Come on now. This was a weird ride, guys. Seriously. Halfway gripping, halfway amateur, just kind of cancels itself out at the end when you pit the negatives against the positives. You're left with that 50% mark feeling, where you know it could be better, it could have been so much better, but you are proud of it for what it did right. And wow, it sure did miss a beat every couple of seconds. It did good things and terrible things, constantly. Oh, and final offense now that I think about it. Margarita break. Oh, whoa. Whoops. Looks like I got a little bit carried away back there and took us all the way from normal operation and critical tone to cabin fever dreams mode. I didn't mean to bring out that side of me so early, but hey, since we're already here and the damage is done, let's just continue sliding all the rest of the way in. Welcome back to Cabin Fever Dreams, everybody. It's about to be spring and I've been too cooped up biting my tongue all winter, playing it straight-laced and showing off the best mature stuff I can find while being as kind and collected as possible. So I think it's time to get wacky and weird, loosen up a bit and unfurl the real freak flags I've found online. The cat's back in the bag and I'm taking on my March hair form once again to open rabbit season. It's casual Friday at 3 a.m. and we've just bought coffee, kids. Slug it back and turn up the sarcasm. But of course we need a real send-off for the business we just took care of, right? Yeah, probably should. All in all, I can't call My Dad's Tapes a truly bad web series. It's flawed in some critical ways, but despite that, I was kept on board and cared to continue during the first half. I'd rather not watch 17 minutes of static, of course, not even my stupid intros are that long, but lesson learned on behalf of the creator and creative hopefuls. I felt this was truly the best follow-up to the human pen in my files, and I'm glad to finally roll it out before an audience, even if the series was only strong enough for me to take you on a more detailed tour halfway. But let's face it, this thing ended at the Uncle Don revelation mark. It just became a zombie after that. Thanks for coming by the Nightmind office to take part in another investigation, and major thanks especially to my supporters on Patreon, who make it possible to sit through 8 hours and 15 minutes worth of My Dad's Tapes and come out the other side sane enough to do a review. The very first patron-selected video topic will be covered soon, so keep your eyes out for that. And as always, stay tuned to the end of the video to see the names of all of these awesome creatures of the night. Thanks for joining me in the dark again this evening. Once more, I'm Nick Nocturne, and just like a murder tape that's been played way too many times before, I'll be seeing you again real soon. Sleep tight. Now, as I was saying, I officially announced Cabin Fever Dreams 2 open for business. I've got a real weird thing to show you for the premiere, and I do hope you're ready to embrace the wackier, even funnier side of dark media and off-putting storytelling. And if you guys have no idea what the hell this is all about, check out my prior videos from about March and April of last year. Starts with my coverage of Lasagna Cat, continues with Info Channel, and wraps up with Night Vale. Ah yeah, that historic Night Vale video. Feels good to put things like that behind me. Anyway, we're back off to the races with the weird shit, kids. Good night for now. I'll see you real soon. Take care.